And we are live once again. Good evening, folks. Mobile Giza here with Friday Night Tet Talk. Good evening, folks. Mobile Giza here. Sorry about that. Didn't catch my phone in time. So if you're new here, we do this every Friday night at this time. I find some tech articles that I think might be interesting to other tech heads like myself, and we discuss them. And of course, when there's a big event that week, like there was last week, and like there will be next week, I have an article about that, and that's usually my main story. But as far as I know, no big one this week. And the next first one in. Isn't that's the second week in a row? I think you were the first one in, and I appreciate that. Welcome. And let's see, it's 8 o'clock here, so I guess it's 5 p.m. your time, and that's out in California. So, as always, very glad you're here. Thank you. And so far, nobody else as yet. Now, as far as I know, I haven't heard, I'm going to double check right now. I haven't heard from Ted, so I don't know that he'll be in here now. Still had no message from him. I did get a text from Will. If you guys remember, Will was on, even though he was working. He was on for a while last week, and he kind of hinted that he might be looking at the Pixel Way. He did pick one up. I just found out 10, 15 minutes ago. So I texted back, I hope he has time to stop by and let us know. And here's Ellie. Okay, we got Annette and Ellie. And blessed, and yep, we're blessed to have you, and I hope you had a great birthday, which fell on Labor Day for you. So, if you're new here, like I said, we do this every week. Please type something in the comments to let us know where you're from, and of course, anything we discuss, we can have a conversation about it in the comments. So if we're very blessed, maybe Will come in and show us his new Pixel. I think he got the Pixel Pro XL, Pixel 10 Pro XL, I believe. Okay. Ellie had a wonderful birthday. That's great. All right. So again, if you're new here, I put my show notes on my webpage every week. So let's go show you that. I'm going to go share screen. Okay. And if you go to mobilegeezer.wordpress.com and just click on today's date, you'll get the show notes just for tonight's show. And like I said, I don't know of any big event this week. Next week, of course, we have the Apple event on Tuesday. So I found some articles that I just thought were interesting, and as always, I'll give you guys a little preview. Starting off with, many accuse Apple of a lack of creativity. Samsung seems to be jumping on that undesirable bandwagon. It's an article I found on Phone Arena. So just thought it was interesting because he thinks Samsung is getting at least as non-creative as Apple is, or is following Apple in that regard. So we'll see. Then the big court information that came out, Google does not have to sell Chrome or Android. The government wanted to break them up to some degree, and the judge says, no, that's not going to happen. Things are not going to be so easy for them, but at least they get to keep Chrome and Android. So I took the story from Android Authority, so we'll check that out. After that, back to the EU, who's always trying to control what everybody says. I think they're trying to control what everybody thinks, for that matter. But we had discussed chat control months ago. and they keep trying to pass it. And so far, it hasn't completely passed, but it keeps getting closer. I just said, chat control is close to negating your encryption. And I did say, if it passes in the EU, can a little thing like an ocean keep it out of the US? And of course, obviously, I don't think so. So I took the story from Tech Radar. So pretty interesting stuff. And of course, they're using the children as their excuse, but it's all about controlling what we say online, what we're allowed to say online. After that, finally, and keep in mind, IFA's this week. I didn't put up any stories on IFA itself, but as always, Samsung was at IFA in Berlin, and yesterday, I believe, they finally released the Galaxy S25 FE. So I thought that's going to be exciting for some people, so I should put a story up about it. And TK Bay had a nice video about it. If you check out TK Bay, he put up a real good. Of course, he's at all these events. This is his full time. Really nice guy. I've met him three times, I think. Always says nice things about me. So that's going to be our fourth one. And then Amazon is following the footstep of Netflix and everybody else. And I just said different addresses, no more shared Prime benefits. Found that story on CNET. So they're cracking down like everybody else is. And for our last story, I'm a YouTube TV. I get all my TV through YouTube TV. And I said, YouTube TV subscribers, $33 off the normal base price for 2 months. So if you're a subscriber, and I have been for years, for the next 2 months, you can get $33 off if you know where to look. I would not have found this if I didn't look at this article. So anybody who's a YouTube TV subscriber, we'll go and show you how to get 2 months at what is it, 49 something rather than the normal 82 that we pay. So it ended on a nice high note. Yeah, let's actually my turn. Yeah, I love my YouTube TV. And of course, I was just maybe 10 minutes before I came on, I was actually watching it because I was looking at the highlights of the Italian Grand Prix. So we had the first and second practices tomorrow morning. I'll be watching the qualifying, of course. And most of you know, Formula One is my very, very favorite sport, followed closely by IndyCar. But I have been watching a lot of tennis this week. I actually had last night, the girls semifinal, women's semifinal, and I had to force myself to go to bed at 11:30 because I get up at 5 o'clock to go to work on Friday. And I really got sucked up into following the tennis like I used to years ago. And of course, they're at the U.S. Open. And I went to the U.S. Open 13 years straight. Now, of course, when I lived in Jersey, I could jump on a bus, get over to Port Authority, like on a weekend or on any day off, and taking a bus from where I lived in Jersey, which was only half a mile from Manhattan, go through Lincoln Tunnel, and from Port Authority in New York, jump on the 7 train, take that out in front of Shea Stadium. You get off in front of Shea Stadium, you're about quarter mile from your seat at the U.S. Open in Flushing Meadow Park. So like I said, I went 13 years straight. I was a real tennis fanatic in those days. And I've been very close and talked to McEnroe, Connors, Martina, Navratilova. I think the year that I stopped going was when the Williams sisters first came out. So I missed them by a little bit, but I used to be a real fanatic. I used to go to any tennis tournament within 200 miles of New York. So I used to go to tournaments in Washington, in Philly, in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and of course, whatever came to New York. So I got sucked into it a little bit again last night. And I've been enjoying, I hadn't been watching any of the players for years, so of course I'm getting to know them again. So it's kind of fun. So probably should stop boring you with my tennis talk And if Ted comes in, I will let you know. And certainly if Will comes in, he's probably working, but if he does come in to show up his new phone, I'll certainly stop everything and let you see that. Now, you all know that I have the Pixel 10 for about a week now. I did not bring it to work with me today. Today I had my Galaxy uh, S Galaxy Flip 7 FE, and my main phone was my iPhone 15 Pro Max because my watch was my Apple Watch 10. So, right, let's see. She said Max and Land for the. Oh, okay. Yeah. Max Verstappen, my favorite driver. He won the last four championships. He's not going to be winning it this year, though. And Lando is fighting his teammate for the first and set for the championships. So fun to watch. All right, we're going to start going through the stories. So many accuse Apple of a lack of creativity. Samsung seems to be jumping on that undesirable bandwagon. A story I found on Phone Reader, and I just found it interesting. I'd love to get the opinions of some of these writers because they do come up with stuff I wouldn't have thought of. The Galaxy S26 Edge is a proof that Samsung is turning into Apple, and that's just sad. Why wouldn't Samsung just make the Galaxy S26 Edge the best phone possible is beyond me, but that's the timeline we're in. And by Ilya, I think it's a guy, but it might be a girl, I'm not sure. By Ilya Temikov. Okay. And I'm going to drop it into reader view and get rid of these ads. The super slim flagship trend is one of the more inexplicable developments in the smartphone world. I totally agree. I don't know anybody that asked for this. Eleanor's in here. Glad you got in here. Considering what people want from their phones, virtually everyone said they'd prefer a thicker device with a bigger battery that can last longer. And that's been true for years and years and years. But Apple and Samsung and these companies and so far, Google hasn't followed suit, but they think they have to make them thinner and thinner. Nobody's sure why. However, Samsung has released the Galaxy S25 Edge with a thinner body and smaller battery than any other model in the series. Apparently, the company will stick to the same strategy and offer an even slimmer Galaxy S26 Edge, of course, that'll be next year, with a slightly larger but still small battery. On the surface, Samsung is sacrificing what users say is the most important aspect of a smartphone, which is always battery, for pure aesthetics, which is surprising. But what's truly baffling is that such sacrifice is unnecessary. There is a battery technology, that's true, a new one, and a lot of the Chinese companies are using it, but not our biggies yet. There is a battery technology that can provide bigger capacity in a smaller package, but Samsung won't use it. Instead, the company will stick to the old school lithium-ion batteries and act like, well, Apple. Samsung used to mean innovation and risk, and that's very true. Back in the day, Samsung was at the cutting edge of smartphone technology. The company was always trying things, sometimes to a fault. Its phones were crammed with features and utilized the latest technology. That's true. It used to be every time you'd get a new Samsung phone, it was like, how many things did they jam into it this time? Meanwhile, Apple has always played it safe, waiting for new tech to mature before using it on an iPhone. You waited too long in the case of AI. Pardon me. That's why Samsung changed the smartphone world with the Galaxy Note, while it took Apple years before joining the big phone party with the iPhone 6 Plus, which is the first iPhone that I ever got. That's also why we're having the Galaxy Z Fold 7 and Z Flip 7, while Apple is yet to launch an iPhone Fold. Samsung's approach was, of course, risky, and the company had its low moments. We still remember the Galaxy Note 7 battery drama, yeah, don't we? And the launch of that phone was actually banned from all kinds of airlines. That's how serious they took it. And the launch of the Galaxy Z Fold series. Those are incidents that could obliterate other companies, but not Samsung. It's what pushed the company to improve, or at least that's what it wanted us to believe. Today, Samsung is like Apple 2.0. Today, the innovative, risk-taking, and exciting Samsung appears to be gone. The Galaxy S26 Edge was supposed to address the gaps left by the S25 Edge and combine great design with innovative battery technology. Now, keep in mind, thinness was the main thing here, but they used the old technology. Instead, Samsung is going the Apple way and is sitting out on the silicon carbon batteries, and those are the newer batteries, that are already changing people's expectations about what smartphones are capable of. Yes, because you can use thinner batteries and still get more battery life. Manufacturers in China are embracing the technology and are launching some exciting devices. Oppo's X6 Max was just launched with a 7,000 milliamp battery. Honor released an 8,000 milliamp phone in April. OnePlus is rumored to use a 7,000 milliamp battery on the OnePlus 15. I'm not sure if I'll be getting that. I do have the 13. Of course, they're skipping 14 like Chinese phones normally do. Realme just showed a concept for a 15,000 milliamp phone. Meanwhile, Samsung is rumored to release the Galaxy S26 Ultra with the same 5,000 milliamp battery capacity seen on every one of its top-tier flagships since 2020, so it's been a while. Unsurprisingly, Apple is also sticking to the old ways, and the iPhone 17 Air may have a tiny 2,900 milliamp battery. I remember when that was considered big. Not anymore. That's considered very tiny. Keep in mind, that's going to be the thinnest one Apple has ever made. As it was Ellie say, the early Note was my ultimate favorite. It was nearly perfect and it was more affordable than the ones now. Yeah, but they also blew up or caught fire. 15,000 concept. Wow, yeah, I know. That's what I said. Pardon me. The two biggest smartphone companies in the world appear to now look in the same disappointing direction. For Apple, that's just a continuation of a long history of waiting a bit too long before using some innovative technologies. For Samsung, this is a fall from grace, which is disappointing and sad, even for me, an Apple fan. So, just thought that was a very interesting article. Get a little drink of green tea. Okay. Still watching for Will and or Ted. I will let you guys know. All right, on to our second story. Google does not have to sell Chrome or Android. And of course, this is a big deal, which I'm sure we all know that. I pulled this from Android Authority, so let's go take a look. Court rules Google can keep Chrome and Android, but it's not off the hook entirely. Google avoids the most dramatic outcome of its antitrust battle. So the antitrust battle is still going on, but this was probably the best news Google could have gotten. So into reader view we go. In the long-running saga, Google appears to have avoided one of the most significant possible outcomes of its U.S. antitrust case. A federal court ruled that the company would not be forced to break up key parts of its business, which included avoiding the sale of both Chrome and Android. According to the ruling from the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, Google will not be required to divest Chrome, nor will the court include a contingent divestiture of the Android operating system in the final judgment. The court also confirmed that Google will not have to present users with choice screens on its products or encourage its Android distribution partners to do the same. Set as a preferred source in Google search to support us and make us sure you. Oh, that's ad for them, sorry. This is the first major remedy decision since Judge Amit P. Mehta, who's been holding this case for a couple of years already, who presided over today's hearing, ruled last year that Google had violated antitrust laws by maintaining an illegal monopoly search. Yes, that's the judge who declared them a monopoly. Regulators had proposed drastic measures at the time, including breaking up Google's business and forcing it to share data with rivals. Those have now been rejected. I'm sure Google is going, whew, but they still have some things they have to obey. Instead, the courts focused on Google's deals that made its services the default. The company is now barred from contracts that require OEMs to preload the Play Store or other Google apps in exchange for search, which that's been done with other companies too, so it makes sense. In exchange for Search, Chrome Assistant, or the Gemini app. It's also blocked from making exclusive distribution agreements that tie those apps together. Still, Google has avoided a blanket ban on payments to partners. The judgment allows the company to continue paying OEMs, because they pay Apple for $20 billion a year just to be their default search, or offering incentives for preloading Search, Chrome, or Gemini, with the court noting that cutting off such deals could cause crippling harm to hardware makers and consumers. So they'll still be able to do that. As the most significant antitrust case against big tech in decades, the outcome is seen as a test for how regulators can check tech giants' power. Google will be delighted to have kept its core products intact, but its ability to cement them as defaults has narrowed. So they still have some new rules to follow, but the two worst things that could have happened didn't. So I'm sure they're glad about that. Okay, moving on. Now we'll head over to the European community. Chat control is close to negating your encryption. If it passes in the EU, which it hasn't quite passed yet, can a little thing like an ocean keep it out of the US? I don't think so. So let's go check out Tech Radar. Chat control. The list of countries opposing the law, I'm with them, grows, but support remains strong. By Chiara Castro, published on August 30th. Belgium and the Czech Republic have joined the opposition ahead of a crucial September 12th meeting. What I thought was interesting about that, Belgium is against it, and where is the headquarters of the EU? In Belgium. So ironic, I thought. All right, insert reader view, get rid of these ads. Let's try it again. Sometimes you have to do it a couple of times, get it to come up right. There we go. Oh, and this was published on the 30th. Okay. Opposition against the controversial Child Sexual Abuse CSAM standing bill is growing among EU state members just days away from a crucial meeting, which I guess that's going to be on the 12th, so next week. Pardon me. On September 12th, the EU Council is expected to share its final positions on the Danish version of the so-called chat control, because I think the vote is going to be in October. The proposal, which has attracted a strong criticism so far, aims to introduce new obligations for all messaging services operating in Europe to scan users' chats, even if they're encrypted, which means your encryption will become useless at that point. Both the Czech Republic and Belgium have now reportedly passed from being undecided to opposing the proposed law, according to the latest data, with the latter, Belgium, deeming the bill as a monster that invades your privacy and cannot be tamed. Now, you know the EU big shots in Belgium, in Brussels, are not going to like that, but I give them credit. They add to Austria, the Netherlands, and Poland in criticizing the proposal's mandatory detection and encryption provisions. So good for them. The list of supporters is still much longer, though, counting 15 member states at the time of writing. These include crucial countries like France, alongside Italy, Spain, Sweden, Lithuania, Cyprus, Latvia, and Ireland. Crucially, French MEPs said they could basically support the draft, a source with knowledge of the matter told Tech Radar. Well, France and England and Germany, they're all trying to have total control over what everybody in their countries thinks, so I'm not surprised. While Germany, another decisive vote to either block or back the bill, may be considering abstaining from taking a position, so they just may not vote at all. This is something that will weaken the Danish mandate, even if the presidency gets the required votes to pass, explains Tech Radar source. Oh, and by the way, in case none of you are aware, the voting in Germany for new politicians, and I don't think it's national, I think it's local, but all over the country, is coming up soon, maybe next week. I'm not sure exactly when. But the right-wing party that has gotten so big in Germany, they become like the most popular party. And of course, the leaders hate their guts. And there's a whole bunch of stories that came out yesterday and today. 7 of these guys in the right-wing party, all of a sudden in the last week, 7 of them have died suddenly. So people are wondering what's going on. Are these people being knocked off? But this stuff has gotten very serious. And every day now I'm hearing or seeing videos in England of a civil war in the UK. I gather they're very, very close to a civil war, and everybody in the UK is talking about that. So I tend to keep up with this stuff. What's at stake for Europe's encrypted communications? First unveiled in 2022, the chat control proposal has never been so close to becoming law. That's because they keep bringing it back and bringing it back every time they lose. With the vote set to take place on October 14th this year, and the majority of EU member states currently being its supporters. On a more practical level, this means that the EU could be scanning your chats by October 2025, no matter if they are encrypted. Well, if they can do that, your encryption won't matter because they are going to scan them before they allow the encryption to even kick in. So I don't even see what the point of the encryption is. I used to work on encrypted files a lot, and once something is encrypted, nobody can read it anywhere in the world. So they don't want anybody to be able to put stuff out there without them knowing what's in it. That's what it's all about. The major point of contention, in fact, is the provisions around encryption, which is the technology responsible for keeping our communications private and secure. The likes of WhatsApp, Signal, Proton Mail, and even the best VPN apps all use encryption to scramble the contents of users' messages, and nobody knows how to get around that, into an unreadable form and prevent unauthorized access. So since I used to work in this, there is no way to get around that unless you catch it before you're allowed to be encrypted. So I'm sure that's what they're going to try to do. If the Danish chat control text passes, all the media files and the URLs you send via WhatsApp and similar services would have to be mandatorily scanned in the lookout for CSAM material. So they're going to scan it before they allow you to encrypt it. Crucially, government and military accounts will be exempt from the scanning. So they won't have to be scanned, just us little people. While the proposal mentions that cybersecurity and encryption should be protected in a comprehensive way, A wealth of experts, including tech developers, cryptographers, and digital rights advocates, have been warning that, as it's intended, mandatory scanning cannot be done without weakening encryption protections. That's right, because you can't allow it to be encrypted if you want to know what's in it. Then you can allow it to be encrypted, and then it won't matter. This will also make everyone de facto more vulnerable to cyber attacks, that's for sure. At the time of writing, only 7 countries remain undecided, namely Estonia, Finland, Germany, Greece, Luxembourg, Romania, and Slovenia. I would suspect Romania and Slovenia should come down against it. That's my guess. If you're worried about this proposal and wish to put pressure on your country's MEPs, this website helps you do so with a few clicks. So since I'm not in Europe, it doesn't matter to me. But I keep thinking if they pass it there, at some point it's going to end up here and it's going to end up everywhere because these government people want to know what you're thinking and they want to be able to control what you can say. And it seems like every government on earth wants that. So an important story, and I'm sure it'll become more important depending on what happens with this in October. So it's either a big deal or it's going to become a big deal one way or another. Okay, nothing else new. All right, I'm halfway done. So some people, I think, are going to get excited about this. Galaxy S25 FE released. I took this one from Android Authority. Like I said, this is Samsung's over in Berlin with IFA. The Galaxy S25 FE is finally here, and there's good and bad news. It's still got effectively the same chip as last year's phone, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and the same rear cameras. And if you go to this story, if you click on this video, it's a long video, but he ultimately, that's C. Scott Brown. Of course, he works for Android Authority, but I follow his own personal channel too, and he really knows this stuff. And he ends up saying, basically, you probably shouldn't buy it right now. But like I say, a good one to watch. So, but you have to either go look him up on Android Authority on YouTube or come to the to this article and click on it yourself, because I'm not going to play it here. So, let's see, this was this was from yesterday. Let's drop into reader view. We were expecting a new member of the Galaxy S25 series to be revealed today. This was yesterday. Now Samsung has made it official and finally pulled the curtain back on the Galaxy S25 FE. Those hoping for a giant leap forward in most areas might be disappointed. But the new phone still brings a few key hardware upgrades that make it stand out from the Galaxy S24 FE. Pardon me. And I believe the S24 FE came out at IFA last year. Furthermore, the device also brings some software features previously seen on the Galaxy S25 series and Z7 foldables. So you're getting some extras. Hardware. Until the new FE, unbox the new FE phone, and you'll see a design that's still similar to the Galaxy S24 FE. However, Samsung claims it's using an enhanced armor aluminum frame in line with the Galaxy S25 series. It also says the phone is 7.4 millimeters thin and weighs 190 grams, making it thinner and lighter than the previous device. And like the other story said, who asked for that? Nobody that I know. As for durability, the Galaxy S25 FE retains an IP68 rating, that's good, and still uses Gorilla Glass Victus Plus on the front and back, also good. In other words, you shouldn't expect improved drop resistance compared to the previous phone, because the previous phone had the same. The Galaxy S25 FE is a little slimmer and lighter than last year's phone, but that's about it from a design perspective. Pop the hood, and you'll find an Exynos 24 chipset. This is virtually identical to the Exynos 2400E used in the S24 FE. However, Samsung is apparently using a 13% larger vapor chamber cooling system. That's a good thing. This should theoretically enable smoother performance during extended gaming sessions. Unfortunately, we've still got 8 gigabytes of RAM here. We've seen smartphone brands, including Samsung, offer more RAM in recent years due to on-device AI workloads. So I have to wonder whether the phone might miss out on some advanced AI features down the line. Could be. Even the screen seems identical to last year's phone, namely a 6.7-inch FHD Plus OLED panel with 1900 nits of peak brightness. The panel offers a 120 hertz refresh rate, but can only drop down to 60 hertz. That's like my Z Flip 7 FE. By contrast, the base S25 drops down to as low as 1 hertz to save juice. We've still got an under-display fingerprint sensor here, but it's unclear whether this is still an optical scanner or a more modern ultrasonic design. Of course, that would cost more, so I'm guessing it's probably optical, but we don't know yet. We've asked Samsung to clarify this. Thankfully, the Galaxy S25 FE isn't a complete recycle job. Easily the biggest hardware upgrades are the 4900 milliamp battery, that's good I guess, and 45 watt wire charging. These both represent notable upgrades over the S25, S24 FE's 4500, so they went up from 45 to 49, battery and 25 watt, and now went from 25 to 45, so that's good charging. It also means the phone has faster charging than the standard Galaxy S25. Samsung claims a 65% charge in 30 minutes versus S25's 50% in 30 minutes. The S25 SE retains 15 watt wireless charging speeds, but Samsung says the phone is QI2 ready and can use magnetically attached accessories with the aid of a case, so you still have to have the case. You'll just have to pick up the Pixel 10 series, which I have on my Pixel 10, or HMD Skyline, if you want an Android phone with integrated magnets. Samsung still offers the same rear cameras as last year's phone, namely 50 megapixel main, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and an 8 megapixel 3x telephoto camera. However, the company has switched from a 10 megapixel selfie camera to the S25 12 megapixel shooter. S25 FE software, no waiting for One UI 8. That's good. The Galaxy S25 SE ships with Android 16 and One UI 8 out of the box, much like the Z Fold 7 and Z Flip 7 series. Yeah, even my Flip 7 FE has that. There are plenty of software enhancements here, with arguably the most notable additions being Navbar and NowBrief support. NowBrief debuted on the S25 series and offers personalized briefings several times a day, covering the weather, news, calendar entries, and more. Meanwhile, Nowbar is a lock screen widget that displays contextual info, including music controls, sports scores, clocks, and timers. Again, you can make it very personal. Samsung has since improved both features on One UI 8, and I can do this with my Flip 7 FE. I just haven't had the time as yet to mess with this stuff. S25 FE, hot or not? There's votes. Don't think that matters to us. The S25 FE also lets you use circular search in games, much like the Galaxy Z Fold 7. Other notable software additions include audio eraser support, that's for generative edit, Portrait Studio, Photo Assist, and instant slow-mo functionality. Finally, Samsung is offering 7 years of OS and security updates. That's very good. That means you should get Android 23 and security updates until 2032. Only Google and Honor match Samsung with their own update policies. So they're the only ones that go 7 years also. Galaxy S25 FE pricing and availability. Keen on this new FE handset? Then the Galaxy S25 FE starts at $649.99 for the 8 GB slash 128 GB model. Yes, Samsung is sticking with 128 GB of base storage once again. Most people don't want to hear that. They think the base should be 256. I tend to go for the 128 simply because I don't, you know, I change my phones every few days at least. So for me, 128 is fine. Otherwise, Samsung is offering an 8 GB 256 GB model for $709.99. The company is also offering an 8 GB 512 GB variant in the UK, I gather not in America, for £799. But it's not listed for the US. You don't have to wait to get your hands on the device either, as it goes on sale today. This was yesterday. Expect to find the Galaxy S20. Yeah, and I did check on the US Samsung site, and yes, it is there. I expect to find the Galaxy S25 FE in icy blue, jet black, navy, and white color schemes. The phone also comes with 6 months of Google AI Pro, including 2 GB of storage. Yeah, they're hoping you get hooked enough to pay for it after the 6 months. Let's see, Ellie's saying, what's your opinion? Is the Galaxy F25 worth it? For that price, yeah, I'd say it's worth it just barely, but I think it is. She says she misses her S22. I missed my 22, but I like my 23 even better, which I actually bought twice, but you guys probably know. In any event, we're glad to see Samsung offering a significant battery capacity boost and much faster wired charging. The release also comes over a month after the Galaxy A56 5G arrived in the US. So Samsung fans looking for a wallet-friendly phone have 2 more options to choose from. And then it gives you some of the specs, and that's about it. But I just thought I should include this because some people are going to be excited that this is here. And yeah, I'd say it's worth it. I think it's just barely worth it, but I think it's worth it. And of course, that's very subjective too. Also, I'm not buying it. I'm just sticking with my Flip 7 FE. So, okay, nothing else new. 2 more stories left. All right, Amazon Prime. Here comes the crack now, folks. Different addresses, no more shared Prime benefits. Found this on CNET. Amazon ends shared Prime shipping program for people who don't live together. So they're cracking down just like everybody else. The company is ending the Prime Invitee program as part of a push for more subscription signups. Now, I believe when Netflix did that, they ended up getting more people to sign up. But I'm going to guess this is going to be worse than they think. That's my guess. Okay. This is by Tyler Graham, and it's from 3 days ago. Let's drop it into reader view. If you're using a friend or family member's free Prime shipping and you don't live in the same house, that's the key, you might need to pay another monthly cost, and that's what they're banking on you doing. According to an updated customer service page, first reported by The Verge, Amazon is ending its Prime Invitee benefit sharing program on October 1st. So you've got another month, or a little less than a month now. The program is being replaced by Amazon Family, which includes many of the same benefits as Prime Invitee, but Amazon Family only works for up to 2 adults and 4 children living in the same primary residential address, a shared home. While you're still able to take advantage of free shipping to send gifts elsewhere, your Prime invitees will no longer be able to use the perk. If you're the beneficiary of someone else's Prime invitee benefits, you have 1 more month to take advantage of the current program before the changes take effect. Starting in October, you'll have to get your own Amazon Prime subscription in order to benefit from the company's free shipping program, and they're betting people will do that. I'm thinking this is going to cost them more than give them more customers. That's my guess. First-time subscribers get a year of Prime membership for $15, but you'll be stuck shelling out $15 a month to maintain your subscription thereafter. And one of the reasons I think they're going to lose customers to this, I gave up my Prime membership in February, I think, after years of having. I'm not missing it very much. So Prime signups are slowing down, and this is why they did this. The move follows shortly after Reuters reported that Amazon's Prime account signups slowed down recently despite an extended July Prime Day event. Yes, their Prime Day event was double what it was 4 days rather than 2. While the company reported blowout sales numbers, new Prime subscriptions didn't meet internal expectations yet because they had doubled the days. They thought they were going to get more. In the U.S., they fell short of last year's sign-up metrics. According to Reuters, Amazon registered 5.4 million U.S. signups over the 21-day run-up to the Prime Day event. And keep in mind, that lasted 4 days. Around 116,000 fewer than during the same period in 2024, and 106,000 below the company's own goal, a roughly 2% decline in both metrics. By forcing separate households to have their own subscriptions, Amazon could be looking to bring in more Prime accounts after having previously missed them off. I still think it's going to cost them. Amazon isn't the first company to prevent password sharing between family and friends. The e-commerce giant is just the latest to follow Netflix's account. It did work for Netflix, account sharing crackdown. While it's unclear whether this change will work for Amazon, Netflix gained over 200,000 subscribers following its policy change. So Amazon gambling the same thing will happen. The new Amazon Family program, previously known as Amazon Household, offers Prime benefits to up to 2 adults and 4 children in a single home, including free shipping, Prime Video, Prime Reading, Amazon Music, and more. The subscription also includes benefits for certain third-party companies such as Grubhub. That I did not know. So just thought you guys should know that. Okay, so let's go end on a more positive note. I just happened to see this story, and I went and signed up for it myself. I just thought this was a nice, happy story to save us some money for at least a couple of months. YouTube TV subscribers, $33 off the normal base price for 2 months. So, and I found this on 9 to 5 Google, and I just followed the steps that they said, and boom, it told me next month I'll pay $33 less, and the month after I'll pay $33 less. So, pretty cool. YouTube TV is offering subscribers $33 off for 2 months. Here's where to find it. Yeah, if you didn't know, they didn't tell you, you probably wouldn't find it. That's by Andrew Romero. And this is also from yesterday. So let's drop into review. In the wake of what seems like regular subscription cost increases, YouTube TV appears to be offering some users the chance to get $66 off for 2 months of service, but the discount is hidden. Here's where to find it. So any of you that have YouTube TV, just follow this. I found it easy as pie. According to one user, this should say on Reddit, I believe, a new discount is available for active subscribers that know exactly where to look. The deal comes as a $33 discount off for 2 months, totaling $66 in total savings. I'd take that. That brings the cost down to $49 a month, which is a steal considering the $82.99 premium it's offering for that base plan. And that's the normal price. So that $49 for 2 months is pretty good. The YouTube TV discount can be found in the base plan management page. It doesn't appear to work for everyone. Yeah, it worked for me right away. And it seems to override the recent $10 a month discount the service offered for a 6-month period. I didn't even know about that. This offer is technically better, but it may be worth holding off until that discount ends. Now, get this, realistically, no one knows how long this current discount will be available, so I wouldn't hold off. So, here's all you have to do. On the YouTube TV website, click your profile photo in the top right, click Settings. In the Membership section, find Base Plan, click Manage. Look for $49.99 a month offer, valid for 2 months. And they'll tell you here, some people say they're not seeing that. I saw it right away. Again, the discount will only be valid for 2 months. I'll take it. After that, it's back to $82.99. The YouTube TV discount looks to be available for a majority of users, but some note that nothing appears in the management base, so they're not seeing that $49.99. The offer might have hidden contingencies, though most commenters on the original Reddit post are reporting success, and so do I. This comes as YouTube TV recently announced that Fox channels would remain available on the platform. That every time there's a contract that comes up, they had these arguments with Fox or ESPN or whoever, and they always end up working it out. So I just thought that's a nice high note to end the show on. And I love my YouTube TV, so just thought I'd let you guys know about it. So let's see. That Flip 7 FB is so tempting. Yeah. And I don't find that little bit of extra screen that you get with the regular Flip 7 to be such a big deal, but a lot of people do. But if you're like me and you don't miss that little bit of extra screen, I'd say the FB saving that $200 is the way to go. That's why I did it. So that's it for today, folks. We did not get Will in here to see his new phone, so maybe next week we'll see. Let's see. Okay. So that'll be it. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope you guys have a very blessed week. And as I always say, let's remember we all do better when we love each other. So we'll go out with the song. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. See you next week, folks.